Hi, I hope nobody got too cold coming here. Okay, standard neurotypical greeting. Check. Next. Get into topic, but subtle and relatable. I'm autistic. Oops. But in all seriousness, I am autistic. I've been autistic my entire life, but I was diagnosed at 18, which means that until college, I received no accommodations. Had I had access to accommodations such as extended time, or flexible deadlines, or fidgets, or had the day-to-day experience of going to high school been slightly different, I would have been much better off. But I'm not here to talk to you today about standard policy solutions. So I'm not here to talk about homework loads or school start times or even screening accessibility. Should all of those things change? Absolutely. But these things can feel unchangeable because of political bureaucracy or healthcare capitalism or any number of problems. And there is something that each individual person in the education system can do to make life better for autistic students. I'm here to talk to you today about benefit of the doubt. Benefit of the doubt is the concept that if there's a benign explanation for something, that's the explanation that's assumed. So for example, if somebody interrupts you after you briefly pause in the middle of speaking, you assume that they thought you were finished talking instead of that they don't care about what you have to say. Or that if someone's late for a meeting, they might have hit traffic, and it's not that they don't care about their responsibilities or your time. At a basic level, benefit of the doubt is about withholding judgment. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Wow, Lucy, how groundbreaking. Next time you're going to tell us to follow the golden rule and eat our vegetables. But the benefit of the doubt does have specific and concrete implications for education. Many of the teachers I had in high school took the attitude that high school is a war. It's inherently stressful and there's conflict at every turn that threatens to overwhelm you. And they used this attitude to justify assuming intent behind certain student actions. So for example, students ask for extensions to be lazy, or they fidget because they don't care. However, many of these behaviors can be attributable to autism or another form of neurodivergence. And taking a moment before assigning motive can drastically change how a struggling student is helped. And autistic students struggle. One of the great ironies of this high school is a war mentality in teachers is that autistic students are some of the few students who would probably agree. Everything about the school system as it stands is designed to function only for neurotypical students with excellent executive functioning. Executive functioning is the ability to plan, focus, and multitask. And executive dysfunction occurs in 64% of autism cases. Executive dysfunction can make it very difficult to summon the will to complete assignments or make a plan, and this can lead to missed deadlines or extreme procrastination. Moreover, the attention issues caused by executive dysfunction can make even short lectures seem like an eternity. And your average high school class is not very short. It can take between 45 and 90 minutes. In addition, the school environments themselves can be hostile to autistic people. 65% of autistic people have some form of sensory processing disorder. And that means that oftentimes the near constant noise and bright lights of the average school environment can cause exhaustion or complete shutdown. And all of this is before we factor in the social costs. Autistic students are more likely to be bullied. So many camouflage or mask, which means that they hide their autistic traits to blend in with neurotypical society. And this can come at a great emotional and mental cost. So, Considering all of this, it's no surprise that for many autistic students, just getting through school can be all but impossible. I am very lucky to be speaking to you from Wellesley College, widely considered by most people to be, well, a college, because only 40% of autistic students will graduate high school and pursue higher education, compared to 63% of total high school graduates. And of those of us who do pursue higher education, only 41% will graduate, compared to 59% of total college students. So now we return to what can be done. It's tempting to pass this off as another sad political fact, but through benefit of the doubt, support for autistic students can be very interpersonal. I will provide specific examples in a moment, but first I would like to issue a blanket disclaimer. Not all autistic students are the same, so what I propose may work for many, but not for some others. Anyway, now that we have covered that not all people are the same, we shall move on. So, first, teachers should be as lenient as possible with extensions. I am aware that teachers face extremely high workloads and strict deadlines of their own, so constant extensions are not feasible. However, there is a lot of room for improvement, because extensions prior to college can be laughably difficult to obtain. After I learned a family member's difficult medical news, I asked a teacher for a one-day extension on a mid-quarter homework assignment that was being graded for completion. The teacher said she understood what I was going through, and then she denied the extension with no further explanation. And most teachers are much more reasonable than that, but they'll still require an in-depth explanation for why an extension is needed, which for undiagnosed students, like I was in high school, can be all but impossible to provide. What explanations we can give might sound like conspiracy theories. Arguments like, okay, so I don't know exactly what it is, but it is inside my brain. It causes all of my academic problems and controls my actions. No, I'm not crazy, but I don't have empirical evidence. Lack credibility. However, students who can't outline their struggles in the DSM-5 might still be autistic or other forms of being neurodivergent and still need the extension. So whenever possible, be as lenient as possible. Second, avoid disciplining students' perceived lack of paying attention. Autistic students may look like we're not paying attention when we are, or at least trying our very hardest. For my part, sometimes when I don't have a fidget, I look all around the room and can't focus in any one place. So if a student falls asleep, or doodles instead of taking notes, or stares at nothing in particular, or is making a friendship bracelet, or commits the ultimate crime, playing a computer game, it is worth not rushing to judgment. For those first few, I would argue the best response is just to do nothing. Speaking as a lifelong procrastinator, doing nothing is the most fun and easiest response at any given moment. And even for behavior that is disruptive, during any meetings about it, try not to make accusations because neurodivergent students can feel humiliated or suffer from increased internalized ableism. Undiagnosed students may need fidgets. Diagnosed students may need fidgets you've never seen. Give your students the benefit of the doubt and assume that they also care about their education and are doing their best. Now, an underlying part of both of these issues is that teachers should not assume that the only autistic students in their class are the ones with a formal diagnosis or who fit a certain stereotype. If a student who doesn't look autistic asks for leniency, give them a break. It might be laundry day. They might be wearing a much more autistic-looking shirt tomorrow. I'm joking, in case you're the kind of person who can't always pick up on these things. But the concept of looking autistic holds back autistic people from accessing vital resources. Autism does not have a look. An autistic person can be getting great grades, but still be struggling in less obvious ways and need additional help. An autistic student might be very outgoing, and have a lot of friends, and fly in the face of the stereotype that autistic people are reclusive loners. If a student asks for help, trust them that they need it. Give them the benefit of the doubt and assume that they are asking for leniency because it is required. The stakes are high here, because while judgment can be humiliating, compassion can be a relief. I remember every time a teacher helped me when I was feeling like I couldn't keep my head above water. I remember the teacher who let me take a walk when I was panicking in class. Shout out to Senora Katz. Just as I remember the teacher who made me stay after class to answer for looking like I wasn't paying attention. I will tastefully not mention names here. Benefit of the doubt is a small action that can impact students for years to come. And not for nothing, but very little fosters love of learning like accessibility. When I got to college and I finally had accommodations, I felt like I could finally learn instead of just trying to obtain the minimum information possible before having to promptly abandon it in preparation for the next exam. And as happy as I was to finally have those resources, I couldn't help but wonder what my mental health and school experience would have been like had I had that help sooner. With so many students and so little time, benefit of the doubt can seem like an impossible ask for each individual student, and some of my proposals today may sound sacrilegious, but I would argue that they are well within the school system's stated doctrine. If schools are truly meant to be places of learning, then teachers should accept that there's stuff about neurodivergence that they don't know, and stuff about their students that they don't know, and they should be willing to learn a better response. Benefit of the doubt is absolutely essential to ensuring that schools are inclusive and accessible. Insert inspirational quote. Have a good afternoon.